Hi everyone, welcome to another video. On this one we're going to be talking about the brand new Thermion 2 XP50 Pro LRF. Welcome to the Night Vision Show. So Pulsar have been hard at work recently building their Thermion range along with a whole host of other products that are absolutely fantastic, including the one I'm most excited to see, which is the Talion. Looks like an amazing bit of kit. I had a quick look through it at the British Shooting Show. Looks fantastic and an excellent price point as well. But what I have got my hands on is the Thermion 2 XP50 Pro LRF. Now this has been long awaited. This is what Pulsar are calling the missing piece of the puzzle when it comes to the Thermion lineup. They have been mega hard at work in terms of building the Thermion range recently and have announced a whole host of new Thermions at IWA recently. So there's a whole load more sensors coming, more lens sizes, and obviously we've got this one here, which is the flagship of the range, the XP50 Pro with the LRF on it as well. What I'm going to do is quickly stick this on my rifle and then I'm going to talk you through the device. So this is the Thermion 2 XP50 Pro LRF, top of the range flagship model. Let's get the price out of the way. £4,979. Said it quickly so it doesn't hurt so much. It's top of the range. It's going to cost the top of the range kind of money. Very much premium thermal rifle scope. That said, let's have a look at it and talk you through exactly what's going on here. So if you've seen any of my Thermion review videos in the past, the functionality of this unit is exactly the same. There are some design differences, this one being a really obvious one, and in terms of the internal specifications, there's definitely some improvements going on here as well, this being a Pro model in the Pulsar lineup. If you've seen those review videos before, or you've actually got a Thermion already, you probably don't need to worry too much about me talking about the whole unit, but for the benefit of those people that haven't had a Thermion before, maybe thinking this is the one for them, I will very quickly talk you through the scope itself and in terms of its design. So starting at the back here, we've obviously got our eyepiece with a diopter adjustment. There is also a magnetic rubber eyepiece that can go onto the end of this. So if I just tilt this down a bit, I can show you, it's got our controls here. This is the rangefinder button at the back here. This is the zoom button, and this is our record button, so for pictures and video. So here at the top in the middle of the scope we've got our battery turret, so we take that off to reveal a section for the battery to go in. That just slots in there. It's the APS Pulsar batteries, so you can get an extended one of these. It comes with the one in the case, but you can get an extended one too, which it does come with the taller turret if you want to use one of them. Just twist that on and that's there. In terms of the side of the scope then, we've got our branding there that shows XP50 Pro, and then on the inside of that turret is a USB-C connection. That allows you to charge the scope. It also allows you to do some data transfer should you wish to. Moving further forwards, we've got the LRF unit here. The slight difference between this model and the ones that have come before it, with the non-LRF models, we've got a focus wheel here. There's one on both sides, so it's sort of ambidextrous, and as you turn it, you can see it turns on both sides there. That makes life a little bit easier if you're not wearing gloves. If you are wearing gloves, if they're thick gloves, you might struggle with that a little bit. I do find you don't have to mess with the focus too much, depending on what range you're shooting at anyway. On the back of the LRF unit, we've got a power button here, so that's where that goes. All that does is turn it on and off. You can obviously go to the power saving mode using the power button as well, and if you press it once, it will recalibrate the image. At the front of the scope, we've got the 50mm lens, top quality Pulsar lenses here, absolutely lovely, and the plastic lens cap here as well. It's got this little release button that allows you just to move it really easily, and then it sort of clips back on the side. On the other side of the scope, we've got our menu wheel and menu button there. So all the controls of the scope are and menu is gone through this here. but also through the buttons on the back there as well. So as I say, it's not a great departure from any other previous Thermions. It works exactly the same, but with the addition of having an LRF on the end here too. Now I will tell you, I've used this out for some rabbiting already, and this LRF was absolutely critical in getting a decent job done. I usually use an Accolade with an LRF, so I'd be spotting with my laser rangefinder, work out the range, then probably have to move in a little bit to get within range, then put it down, sight up, check the range again, then keep swapping devices. And I wasn't quite sure when I got this how useful the LRF would be on it, but I'm already thinking I'm not sure how I'll survive without it. I was able to sight up the rabbits that I was looking for, found that they were at about 140 yards, moved in complete darkness, there's no lights here, not even infrared, kept getting closer and closer until I was able to range it at 96 yards, I think it was, which is close enough for me. Took the shot, did what I needed to do. So it's really useful bit of kit that. In terms of the image quality on this, it's the flagship model. It's exactly as you'd expect. It's fantastic. You will not find a better image certainly on a Pulsar thermal, or I challenge you to find a better image on any commercially available thermal. Quite honestly, the image is absolutely amazing. In terms of its design, if you've not seen the Thermions before, it's a standard kind of 30mm rifle scope design, hence the turrets and everything else. So here I've just got some standard loop-hold rings that are holding this in place. You can use whatever rings you want to use. These ones are medium rings on a Picatinny rail, courtesy of Britannia rails. And you can see there's a little bit of clearance there. If you had a built-in rail on your rifle, then a medium ring is probably enough. You might need to go for a high one, possibly. So that's that. That's the sort of the design of it all and everything else. In terms of battery, so I talked about the APS battery that's in here. I also said you can charge the scope through USB-C on this side. It's got a built-in battery as well. So even if you run out of battery on your APS battery, your internal battery will take over. If you don't have a battery in here, the internal battery will work. If you swap this out, the internal battery will take over, but it always gives priority to the APS battery in here. So your internal one will stay charged for as long as it can before it starts to use that as a secondary kind of backup, as it were. So let's get this turned on, let's have a look at it, and I'll show you what's going on. Okay, so we've got it all turned on. There was a rabbit over the far side of the valley a minute ago, and I obviously wouldn't dare to take a shot that far on a 2.2 rimfire. I'm not Mark Ripley. In fact, there it is. So there's a rabbit over the far side of the valley. I don't know how far that is. If I just range that using the rangefinder, 573 yards straight away. Obviously 573 yards is not going to happen, but the fact that I can literally turn this on, spot a rabbit from that distance and range it is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Really clear image there. If I just, really impressive. So that's just literally turning it on practically out of the box, in fairness. So what I wanted to do there was really show you the LRF system, because that's really the major difference with this scope in comparison to previous Thermions, etc. But yeah, you literally, it's the button nearest your eye when you're working, and you just literally press it once, little red box comes up, it tells you how far it is. Far side of the valley here, those trees, 593 yards. It's not struggling at all at that kind of distance. In terms of the sort of distances that most people are shooting at these days, sort of up to 300 yards, maybe a little bit further, it's not going to struggle at all with anything like that. It's just so straightforward. So let's have a quick look at the menu system. especially for the benefit of those who haven't seen Thermions before. Effectively, we've got several spotting modes. So at the moment we're in identification mode. We can change it into custom mode, and we can also have forest mode and rocks. So depending on which use case you want, you could try all of those to see how they are. We've got reticle and zooming in the menu. So as is always the case with Pulsar products, we've got a nice selection of reticles. In fact, this is not going to help because it's all black at the moment. So if I just put it into white and red, go back to the reticle menu. So we've got a wide selection of reticles, from a little red square cross, white crosses with different mil dots and marks, and then plain old sort of duplex reticles, circles, whatever you need it to be really. It's so versatile. You can change the colour of the reticles. There's a whole list there: black, red, white, red, then plain red, green, yellow, orange, black and white, white and black. I mean, literally wherever you are, whatever you're looking at, it's going to work. Brightness of the reticle, and then we've got our ability to set different distances. So you can have different rifles. You can have up to 5 rifles set on here: rifle A, B, C, D, and E. And then within those, you can also have different distances set. At the moment, I've got one distance set up. That was 45 yards. That was the first time I zeroed it. I've since zeroed it at 60 yards as well. But you can have this on 5 different rifles with multiple distances zeroed in for each rifle as well. So if you've got one for 100 yards, one for 300 yards, if you're ranging it, you can literally just change the distance. It will change all the settings, and it will change where the crosshairs are, and it'll just work. It'll be fantastic. So going back to the menus, there is the zeroing menus in there. I'll show you that in a minute. I'll show you how we zeroed it. Our colour modes. So we've got white hot, we've got black hot, we've got red hot, which sort of shows anything that's hot is red, like that. That's the back of my car. Red monochrome, rainbow, ultramarine, violet, and then sepia. It's like brown. So my preference is usually white hot, so I'll just leave it on that for a minute. Then we've got icon brightness. We've got the ability to activate Wi-Fi. This works with Stream Vision 2, the app. It's a fantastic app. If you're a Pulsar owner, you definitely need to download it because you're missing out if you haven't. We've got Wi-Fi settings, so we can change the passwords and things like that if we want to. We've got a built-in microphone, which we can have on or off. Rangefinder settings. Oops, gone too far. Rangefinder settings. So we can have a different reticle. There's 3 reticles. We've got the square with the more solid bars. We've got like smaller bars on the outside, and then we've got 2 like brackets as well. We can have that. We can also set so we want it to tell us the angle at which we're shooting, and also the true distance. True distance is where it calculates the angle you're shooting at, because it's got an accelerometer in it. So if I'm shooting uphill or downhill, it will work out exactly what the actual distance is, taking into account the trajectory of which way you're pointing. So obviously if I'm shooting straight across the valley here, then that's going to be a true distance of 570, but if I'm shooting downhill onto something, that's going to affect the ballistic distance and make a difference. So the true distance will give you that. If you turn true distance off, it will just give you the straight line distance. Into calibration mode, you can have it on automatic, semi-automatic or manual. That's how it calibrates the image. General settings like time and date and units and stuff like that. You can turn the accelerometer on and off. And you can repair defective pixels and look at your information. So along the bottom of the screen there, you can see a number of bits of information. So at the moment we've got our distance, our primary distance we've got plugged in, our identification mode, we've got our rifle setting, which is rifle A, microphone is off, we're on 2x zoom, we've got our clock, and we've got our battery indicators. So battery 2 there is the external battery 1 is the internal battery. Also showing there, we've got our picture-in-picture. Now if I want to turn that off, I just hold down the plus button, and then I can zoom in at different stages, so 4, 8, 16 times zoom, like that in the actual image. And even then you can see the clarity of those trees at 570 meters away, still pretty good, even at 16 times zoom. What you can also do is you can turn on the picture-in-picture mode. So you hold down the zoom button, it brings the picture-in-picture mode, and then if you click the zoom button, it then goes through the zoom ranges in the picture-in-picture rather than it being on the actual main screen, as it were. So that's basically how the Thermion 2 LRF operates. As I say, with the actual LRF setting, it's absolutely fantastic. So it's telling me, as I range across the valley there, 541 yards or 544 yards with a degree of -1 angle. So just pointing ever so slightly downhill. Really, really clever. If I turn it on and then hold it down, I can then go into scan mode. So as I'm going around there, you can see the angle changes. It's not going to pick that up because I'm not pointing anything. You see the angle changes, so that's now pointing down. So the true distance at 480 yards, and then obviously putting it back up again, 584 yards at 0 degrees angle. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really clever bit of kit, that. And an absolute godsend when you're out shooting and you don't want to have to keep switching between devices. Yeah, incredibly impressed with that. So what I want to do is show you the zeroing process for this. It's exactly the same as the other Pulsar devices, in fairness. It's a one-shot zero. It's got a freeze function. You can zoom in on it to get really accurate clicks as you adjust things, and the mil dots on some of the reticles are actually responsive as well. We're going to be using one of these for this. This is a reactive USB powered heated target from Pulsar. It's the first time we've used them, so we'll see how that looks once we've got it stuck onto our board and got it out there to go zeroing with. So yeah, let's get that done. So here we go. This is the I've got a Divana Hunting Zero Hero, which is the orange thing there, the metal thing that's plugged in, stuck in the ground, and then I've got the Pulsar heated target here, which is plugged into a USB pack, which is around the back here, and we can hopefully fall down the rabbit hole. Hopefully we can see that on the thermal scope without any problem. So let's go and see how that looks. Press record on here so I can show you what we're looking at. So that is the Pulsar plug-in heated target in action. Really bright, working really, really well. Obviously it's getting quite dark now. It's not a problem for zeroing a thermal scope, but I'm just going to use the one-shot zero to get this lined up. Effectively, it's landing at the moment half in the middle of the right-hand board. So let's go to zeroing. Let's go on zeroing. Add a new distance. We'll call it 45 yards, and then effectively what I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze the image, and then I'm going to move the windage right the way over there, like that. It's probably going to be somewhere in the region, and then back out of all the menus, and then take another shot. that's the Thermion 2 XP50 Pro LRF. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? It's an absolutely fantastic scope. You'd expect it for the money. It is the top of the range. You won't get better than this. The Thermion 2 has always been a fantastic thermal rifle scope. The addition of the LRF is a really welcome addition. The actual way it operates and the ease in which it operates makes it very, very straightforward to use, and quite frankly an absolute joy to use out in the field as well. So yeah, thoroughly recommend it. It's available today at Scott Country. It's available. Thoroughly recommend it. It's available for pre-order at the moment from Scott Country International. It shouldn't be too long before the units start to arrive. So yeah, if you get one of these, then you're very, very lucky, and I'm very, very jealous because this one's going to have to go back very, very soon. But yeah, let us know how you get on with it. If you've got any questions that you want to ask about the unit, please do. Yeah, hope that's been useful, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers.